What if I told you that fixing this one thing could be the difference between being poor and becoming rich? Would you work on it? I have built a net worth of over $400,000 at just 29 while working a regular 9 to 5 job. And if I hadn't worked on that, I would have never made it. But what is this game changer? Well, it is the result of understanding the thing you're probably ignoring along with 90% of the people. And not working on it could make you poor even with a 6-figure income. So in this video, I will reveal this incredibly powerful change and how to easily implement it in your life. Like this, you will also be able to grow your net worth and become rich. But to start, what are the 3 things that everybody tells you to work on? Pretty obvious, right? But what if I told you there is a 4th thing that most people ignore and that will definitely ruin your chances at becoming rich? Let's take an example. Alex and Sam are 2 friends and they have very different incomes. Alex makes $100,000 per year, whereas Sam only $60,000. This also means that Alex tries to save $20,000 per year and Sam only half of that, $10,000. So logically, Alex is richer and he should have a higher net worth, right? Well, unfortunately, Alex is ignoring this 4th aspect of his finances, whereas Sam isn't. And just because of that, despite the huge difference in salary and savings, Sam has a higher net worth than Alex. So what is the difference? How is it possible that Sam is richer? Well, Sam gets richer than Alex despite the huge difference in income because he's not using debt. Alex has a lot of debt, especially credit card debt, which he is ignoring. And this drastically lowers his net worth. He might be thinking he's in a much better position than Sam thanks to the higher salary and savings rate, but in reality he's struggling. On the other hand, Sam is not using debt, and so he doesn't have to pay back anything to his bank. And this means all the money he saves is actually his. And so by being responsible, he gets way ahead of someone earning much more than him. And the reality of our world is that 77% of Americans have debt and so are in the same situation as Alex, all struggling with their finances. And despite that, 67% of Americans already carrying debt will increase their credit card debt to get some rewards, as well as 38% would get in debt to buy something they don't really need, which is just financial suicide. And all of this because they don't realize the fact that debt is destroying their finances and their chances to live without money problems. So if you have debt, it will be extremely difficult to become rich, even if you're earning a lot of money. And unfortunately, you might already be trapped in debt. But this doesn't mean you can't get out of it. There are several ways to get out of debt, and here I have 3 simple ones that will help you to get out of it as soon as possible. And if you want to know even more ways to get out of debt and become rich, just subscribe to this channel. So the first one will help you eliminating the first source of bad debt in the world, and it is here in my right hand. Can you guess what it is? This could be the most dangerous financial tool you've ever used, because if you don't know how to properly use it, you will ruin your finances. Just imagine that 50% of Americans have credit card debt and 36% have more credit card debt than emergency savings. This just means that you might even have a negative net worth. So I'm just showing these statistics to help you understand how crazy it is the way we use credit cards, and I passed through that too. You want to buy something for which you don't have the money on the spot, so you use a credit card. Like this, you can repay it later. But do you ever calculate how much it really costs you doing that? Imagine that you have the average credit card debt, which is of around $7,000. And you carry the balance for 2 years, as 60% of the people having debt. If you take an average interest of 24%, your $7,000 will become more than $11,000. It's over $4,000 more that you have to pay as interest. This means that everything you've been buying with the credit card, you're paying it 61% more. That's a huge amount of money that you have to pay, and if you're already in debt, you will struggle even more to pay for it. This is why if you have credit card debt, you have to stop using your credit card and start paying off your debt as soon as you can, because as long as you will use it, you will feed your debt and you will never get out of it. But be careful, because you might end up doing one of the most common errors people do with credit card debt. And if you do so, you might think you're helping yourself, but you're actually digging your own pit. It's like at school. The first day the teacher assigns you 10 pages, but you don't really want to study them, so you just do the first one. The second day you have other 10 pages, but again you have better things to do, and so you study only one page. And before you realize it, it is the end of the semester and you have 400 pages to study for the exam and you only have a couple of days. It was impossible, right? Well, this is what most people do with their credit card debt, because only paying the minimum balance every month is like studying just one page, and it is the worst you could do. Most people think it is fine because your credit card still continues working, but in reality you're just worsening your position. This is because your debt will continue to grow because of the interest, and a debt that you have in the beginning of the year will just be much higher at the end of the year. And this without considering in most cases people add more debt to it. So paying the minimum balance is like delaying the problem while making it much worse and painful. And this is why when you have credit card debt, you must pay the balance in full all the time. If you don't, your debt will just increase and become unmanageable to the point you will never get out of debt, and the bank will be allowed to take everything you own. Finally, you have to be consistent in paying it, but it might feel difficult. You might have bills to pay and not much left to pay your debt. But if you don't keep up with the payments, you will never be debt free. So here is the trick that will make this super simple. What we all too often do is that we pay our bills, we spend our money during the month, and then we use what is left to pay our debt, to save some money or invest it. But you know very well that at the end of the month there's not much left, which just means you can't pay your balance in full. This is why if you want to get debt free, you have to change your approach. You have to start with what you put last. So every month when you receive your salary, you should immediately pay your bills and the balance you are due. This way you will be freed for the month from every obligation and you will not increase your debt even more. And to be sure that you will always do so and not fall in temptation to use your money otherwise, just make an automatic payment. Nowadays all banks allow to do so, and this way both your bills and your credit card debt will be paid automatically, without you even thinking about it. This way you will have no choice but get out of debt. And this is why setting an automatic payment towards your debt is the best way to be sure that you will get out of it. And this, believe me, it is a game changer that not only will save you time, but that will also save your finances. So once you will get debt free, you will finally be able to become rich. But as you might imagine, it is not that straightforward. And one of the most difficult things to do is to have the right habits to become rich, because otherwise you will fall back in debt. So if you really want to know which these habits are, watch this video. Thanks for watching and see you soon.